Hi, everyone. Here is Ricardo Vargas, and this is the 5 Minutes Podcast. Today, I like to discuss one question I received in a webinar we did recently on AI. And the question was about, I would say, the preconceived idea that companies, organizations, projects, they have with tools like ChatGPT or generative AI tools, translating them as some sort of cheating. And, something that people should not do. That if you do anything with the support of AI means you are not doing it. And this makes me remember February last year, my daughter was at the university and they sent a memo to all students saying, ChatGPT is absolutely forbidden. People cannot use. If we discover you were using, you'll be expelled. You'll be punished and this and that. And then she came home because she knew that I was working with that. And she came and said, Dad, what should I do? Is it unethical, illegal, and this? And I said, look, everything is new. Just wait because things will change. And 2 months later, my daughter was having classes of ethical use of ChatGPT. So did you see how it changed? So what I'm saying is, first, the use of generative AI is probably one of the biggest improvements we had in our society in the recent years in terms of technology. It's not amazing. It's amazing plus your ability, for example, to create a photo based on a text prompt. Your ability to even in very soon create a video based on a text prompt. To generate ideas, to do an initial thought of a brainstorming. This is all fantastic. So when is the borderline between a fair, normal, very positive use and cheating? Cheating is when you do things that you were supposed and expected to do, but you use a tool and get the credits and the ownership of that product. Let me give you 2 examples. For example, when I was preparing this podcast, I put some ideas on this that I want to talk, and I asked ChatGPT and say, can you suggest some titles for this podcast? And I told them, I want a short, straight to the point. I want to mention the cheating. I want to mention what is a right and proper use. And I want to mention generative AI. And then it suggested a few names. And then I took the name I like most, I did some minor tweaks, and I'm using it. This is a normal fair use because I'm just having ideas because, for example, I don't have a perfect English, not at all. So this will help me to communicate better and provide my message better to all of you that are listening. Second case, imagine that I go on ChatGPT and say, write an article I will send to Harvard Business Review, HBR, called How AI Will Transform Project Management. And then ChatGPT will deliver to me 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of content. I will copy this. I will put this in a Word document. I will go on the mail and send this to the editor of HBR, saying, this is my new article. Did you see the difference? In the second case, I'm cheating because I am not the owner. Who owns this copyright? First, it's nobody because it's an AI content, but who created that was fully AI. So most of the time, for example, when I'm writing a report to a project, what I do sometimes when the text is not so clear, I'm not very happy with the tone I'm providing. Then I go on tools like ChatGPT or Grammarly or Killbot, and I say, can you make this message a little bit softer or a little bit harder or less formal, more formal? Or can you suggest me things that I should add to this to make that content richer? Did you see? This is the positive use. For example, when we go on LinkedIn today, I would guess that probably more than half of the posts we see on LinkedIn are AI generated. And this counts again. If you are doing that, don't do that. Just generate and do. Why? Because at the end, it's not you. You are not behind that, intellectually speaking, to explain. So sometimes I see, for example, people I know, and they don't have the fluency of English to write that type of answer. And then they write an article like if they were, a native speaker with PhD in literature to write it. It's not you. And on LinkedIn, we want to see you. On a project is absolutely the same. We will see very soon multimodal AI helping you, for example, to transform a chart, for example, a burn down chart for Agile, doing this in a video using tools like Sora that will be available soon. That's fantastic. That's an absolutely perfect usage of that. But you are the one driving the data. You are the one leading that project. Because if you say, oh, I did everything by hand, it's not right. It's like you using Dolly, creating an image and saying that you draw that image yourself. And this is not true. So this is the borderline. So every time you need just to understand one thing. Put on someone else's shoes. Read what you did and say, would I will be happy if I knew that that article was written by AI, not by John, Mike, or Ricardo? If you have questions on that, one thing that I learned a lot on ethics is if it raises you a concern, stop and think about it. Think about it. Never go ahead with something that is unclear. Never go ahead, upper to a limit where, ChatGPT is just helping you to work less and cheat more. What we want is use of ChatGPT to help you to convey better ideas, to convey more creativity, to create more, I would say, insightful content that you as an individual already have. This is exactly the best use of this kind of tool. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This podcast was not generated by AI. And see you next week with another 5 Minutes podcast.